Hello again.
Hello.
And look who's making his return after quite a while.
I'm back. Yeah.
It's been a mostly reaction video year for you this year.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back to the JMC Reviews, and what better time to return than in the October season.
And a good project we've got to work on here for October.
Today we're going to be reviewing the late 1970s acclaimed cult classic gothic horror film Don Coscarelli's Phantasm.
Mm.
Phantasm. Is it a nightmare?
A lot of the classic horror movies coming out of this time period, so you can kind of feel how the genre was just evolving during this decade quite a bit. You kind of feel how it may have changed even some of the stuff that came afterwards.
Coscarelli said that one of his main inspirations for Phantasm was the 1950s alien invasion movie Invaders from Mars, as well as the late 70s horror film Suspiria by Dario Argento, another dreamlike horror film that has a bit of a non-linear plot to it. This is a hard movie to talk about simply because there's a lot going on in this film, and it's a little all over the place, and there's a good reason for that. According to what I've read, the script was apparently being rewritten throughout the shooting of the film, and filming on this movie took over a year.
No? I know I found it kind of hard to follow the plot line at the very beginning.
Yeah.
You know, because it was just kind of a random series of events. And then pieces started to fall into place.
And then the ending, which we'll get into later. The basic story for Phantasm is a young boy named Mike, played by A. Michael Baldwin, is dealing with the death of his parents and also the fear of his older brother, Jody, played by Bill Thornberry, leaving him. And while watching his brother at a funeral for one of his friends, he notices the guy who runs the mortuary, a mysterious guy who everybody just calls the Tall Man, played by the late Angus Scrimm. Once everybody's gone, picks up an entire coffin by himself and puts it in the back of a hearse. Just
literally just tosses it right in the hearse.
Like it weighs nothing. What did you think when that scene happened?
Well, I didn't know if the body was still in there. That's what I thought. I thought maybe it was an empty coffin. But I guess they were going with the superhuman strength angle. But at least at first, I thought it was maybe like they had unloaded the body or something had happened at that point in the cemetery itself.
Right away, you're kind of wondering what's going on. And it's pretty early in the film, and there's been a few things to let you know there's something weird going on, but you're not exactly sure what it is.
And you're also getting the first taste of the boy pretty much spying on everybody and not knowing where to be. Yeah.
That's a big thing with the character of Mike. At least in the first film, he is a fucking brat.
A little bit.
Well, let's see. It's just right up the street.
No, that was quick.
This character, like, he's afraid of his brother leaving, and he's getting over the death of his parents, but at the same time, after a while, you're like, Jesus, what a crybaby.
And he's attached at the hip.
Yeah, like...
Cool.
Yeah, like,
Didn't know you were right there.
I mean, as it is, he follows me everywhere. It's like he knows I'm gonna leave.
Like, his brother drives from their home to a bar, and a few seconds later, Mike appears right behind him.
Seriously?
He's everywhere.
What is this kid? Like, super, like the Flash?
Yep. Just sidles right up.
Probably the funniest and a little creepy moment is where he follows his brother home from the bar after he's picked up some mysterious chick, and he follows them to the cemetery where, interesting choice, they make out and start to have sex. And for the sake of this guy keeping his day job, I'm not going to show much footage, but yeah, they start undressing, and at first seeing the woman take her top off, Mike's like, but once his brother takes his pants off, he's like,
Oh, right, that's my brother.
Nothing says romance like a cemetery.
While watching them, he is almost attacked by these mysterious little dwarf people.
What the heck?
And his brother doesn't believe him, thinking he's just, over-attached and maybe a bit of a creeper.
What's wrong with you, man?
There's something up there. I know it. I saw it.
What?
Okay, look. I was following you guys. I didn't mean any harm, but it's out there. It's gonna get me.
What's out there?
I don't know. It was little and brown and low to the ground.
Like him.
It's probably just a gopher in heat.
It wasn't any gopher.
Over the next few days, a bunch of weird stuff happenings that only happens to Mike and no one else believes him.
I'll do it.
My fucking foot, man.
So he goes down to the mortuary.
Logically, hey, what else would he do if he felt in danger? I see no bad possibilities of a 15-year-old carrying around with a sharp knife
13, apparently.
on his leg. Whatever happens to you now is your own damn fault.
Yep.
I love these movies, but the characters at times can be really stupid.
It's really kind of a documentary on bad decision making.
Yeah,
Starting, following his brother, and then, I'm gonna go into the funeral home, where all the trouble is.
with the guy who lifted up a coffin and maybe has an army of demons at his control.
By myself at night. This is a great idea. Breaking and entering.
Yeah.
Good decision.
And I'm sure no one heard that.
No.
And
The one with superhuman strength, supposedly, we're gonna believe doesn't have any hearing, right?
Jumping ahead a little, but I just want to say, the older brother character, Jody, I mean, it's clear they love each other. They're brothers, they're family, they're all they
Strong
have.
bond, yep.
But at the same time, Jody's not a really responsible guardian.
Series of bad decisions.
Like throughout the film, we see Mike driving this car that they share.
Not sure he's old enough to drive.
Yeah, it doesn't look it.
And he even gives Mike the car at night to drive home.
You going home? I'll talk to you when I get back.
You sure you're gonna be okay?
Get out of here.
Yeah, let the 13-year-old drive in the dark.
We may be sounding a little overprotective-ish, I mean, when I saw this movie for the first time, I was about 14 or 15, and at the time I thought, I wish my parents or I had a family member who was...
Just give you the keys.
Yeah, would let me do whatever the hell I want.
Or the shotgun. Or the beer.
Yeah, but as an adult, I see these scenes and I'm like, someone might want to call child services.
Yeah, a little irresponsible. It's just the two of them in the house, so...
Loving, but not the best decisions.
Correct.
And yeah, in the later parts of the film, we see he has no problem letting his 13-year-old brother drink beer.
Oh, there's the alcohol. Apparently Jody also doesn't believe in keeping firearms in...
Locked up.
Yeah.
In the words of wisdom, don't use any warning shots.
Here, you keep that. Now remember, you don't aim a gun at a man unless you intend to shoot him. And
Good
you don't
advice.
shoot a man unless you intend to kill him.
Keep the safe.
No warning shots. Hey, you listening to me?
Yeah.
No warning shots. Warning shots are bullshit. You shoot to kill, or you don't shoot at all.
Shoot to kill.
Yeah.
To a 13-year-old. Just saying.
Back at the mortuary, when Mike is looking around, the design of the mortuary I thought was very cool.
Yeah, the set was really good for the inside there, the mausoleum.
Very eerie and very gothic looking. Good sound effects to really creep you out. And then we get the most iconic object in this franchise, the Silver Spear.
A little Harry Potter-ish, but...
Whoop.
It soars through the air. It's one of the tall man's many weapons. That scene is like, it's like one of the most famous horror scenes of all time.
It's a little disturbing. The drill part especially. Oh.
In fact, that scene almost got the film an X rating.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Another big part is the MPA apparently took issue with the person who gets killed. We see a puddle of urine appear between his legs. They just thought that was a bit too graphic, gross, and realistic, I guess.
Now I want to know what's that random henchman doing in there.
Apparently the tall man has an assistant, and
You'd think he had plenty of labor force as it was, but
yeah,
I
and
guess he's got one token human that sticks around.
I suppose must have been an easy job for the actor. No lines, just groan and
Yep,
collapse.
yep. And the goblins leave him alone? I mean...
And yeah, we see a bunch of little cloaked dwarves. They look kind of like Jawas.
Yeah, I thought that. Yeah, like sand people, yeah.
Yeah, just running around with knives, trying to attack any humans that come into the mortuary. Fun fact, all those dwarves were actually played by children.
Ooh.
Yeah, like little kids. So that's...
I think Jody put him up to that. Gave him the knives.
It must have been a blast to work on this film if you were a kid actor, because basically A. Michael Baldwin got to learn how to use guns and drive when he was about 14 at the time of filming.
Where'd you get that gun?
All these little kids got to run around in hoods with knives jumping on people.
Oh, careful.
Don Coscarelli, who made Phantasm, he used a couple of actors from his previous films, mainly Michael Baldwin, Angus Scrimm, and Reggie Bannister, because in real life they all are friends.
Oh, Scrim was great. I thought he was really played the role well.
The funeral is about to begin, sir.
At the time of filming, he was about 6'4", and to even make himself look taller, he wore like 3-inch lifts in his boots.
That's good.
And you can tell he's very lean.
Yeah.
So it creates an almost wiry, alien look to him.
I love the scene in town there where the ice cream truck had the condensation coming out of the back there.
That was
They just turned to look at him and sniff the air. I thought that was a great scene. It kind of reminded me of like a Stephen King movie right there. That was creepy.
subtle, but yeah,
Very effective.
very chilling.
Because at that point, they really hadn't established the character, so...
And his delivery of his lines are just so gruff, and it's like it's almost like he's speaking from like above you, just so loud and commanding, like a demon god almost.
Yeah.
You play a good game, boy. But the game is finished. Now you die.
And after the famous drill scene, Mike has his first real face-to-face, up-close moment with the tall man.
Oh, shit.
Where he just narrowly gets away. And he manages to cut off his fingers, at least the old fingers.
That's handy.
Speaking of handy,
He takes one of the severed fingers back to Jody, where he tells him his story, and I like the finger scene a lot.
The initial finger scene. Yeah. Yeah.
With the box.
Yeah, that was good.
Okay, I believe you. Jesus.
Even though these movies aren't based in reality, it felt very realistic how someone might react to seeing that.
Oh.
Opens it, and he's like, okay, I believe you.
We're going for the sheriff. Go get your evidence.
All right.
The following scene, I thought, well, it was alright, but it wasn't one of my favorites.
With the bug.
With the bug, yeah, the gremlin bug.
Is it funny?
the finger, for some reason, transforms into a bug, and apparently...
Yes, for some reason. Finger into bug.
I just can't cope with freaky stuff.
And we get this scene that could have gone badly, but I think Baldwin and Thornberry acted it out pretty well. I thought they acted pretty well being pulled all around.
Yeah.
Because that was all them. There was like no wires to yank them around.
And Reggie showed up.
Hey guys. I just thought I'd come over and see what was going on before the kids got out of summer school.
What did you think of the character Reggie?
I liked him. I mean, he added some humanity to the cast, I think.
Alright. Well, after you, my friend. You're my guest.
Coscarelli calls the Reggie character the everyman of the Phantasm series. The friend who everyone can relate to.
Somewhat oblivious at times.
Hey Mike, you want to ride along with me today? It's pretty warm outside and the ice cream's going to be flying fast and furious. Remember how good you were at crowd control last time? Hey, what's going on here?
What the hell is going on?
And he comes in gradually as the film goes on. And Reggie Bannister, he and Don Coscarelli, they've been best friends pretty much their whole lives. Coscarelli said the friendship he has with Jody and Mike was kind of based on their own friendship. Reggie's a cool guy in real life. Like, you see him in interviews at fan conventions. He's an awesome dude. One thing to know about him is apparently he never turns down a fan autograph request. Like, two moments that stick out is one female fan asked him to sign her breast. Yeah. That happens. Another fan apparently asked him to sign their arm, and they got it tattooed in.
Oh, jeez. That's commitment again.
And he also, for a bald guy, he rocks the thin ponytail pretty well.
Yeah, pretty close.
Apparently he went bald pretty young because he was like only 32 or 33 at this time.
Oh, he looks a lot older. He's only 32 in this movie?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's actually them playing.
That's right.
We're hot as love, you know.
One-hit wonders.
I don't know if Todd will be doing any videos on them anytime soon. Jody, once again showing he's not the smartest guardian, gives Mike a shotgun, a 13-year-old kid a shotgun, leaves him alone knowing that there's some weird shit going on, tells him to lock the doors and says, I'll go out and check the mortuary by myself.
Because these creatures have proven that they can be stopped by doors and windows.
Mm-hmm. And after going to the mortuary and having a run-in with a dwarf, we see that the dwarf is actually a friend of theirs who got killed at the beginning of the film. And it's revealed that the tall man steals the dead bodies that are brought to his mortuary/cemetery, and he shrinks them down to about 3 feet. And these dwarves are pretty much his minions, his slaves to do his evil commands.
And this is where so he has to raise them from the dead, and then he shrinks them. Or else how do they come back to life to be able to do his bidding as the slaves? That's the part that I had trouble with. But
I can't remember 100% at the moment, but I think some of this is explained in the sequels.
Oh, okay.
At least a few parts of it.
Mm-hmm.
We find out later that there's a room that has kind of a gateway. And we discover that the tall man is an alien.
The dwarves. And they gotta crush them because of the gravity and the heat. And this is the door to their planet.
These guys are all ready to go.
Yeah, I could buy into that. I just had a hard time. They go from dead to working. That's the part that I had a hard time with. But
The extent of the tall man's powers is an ongoing thing to think about with these movies.
Yep.
Because sometimes it seems like there's only so much he can do, but in others it seems like he can reach people through their dreams, apparate at will.
Which you had a little bit of with Mike there. At the beginning with the bed scene.
My favorite scenes in the film, I think, are in that bright white room, just with the gateway. I love the effect of Mike going through it.
Mm-hmm.
And even though it's hard to make sense of it, I love when Reggie, remembering the thing he did earlier with the tuning fork, puts his hands and then just gets blown back.
Yep. Which, again, having watched the trailer first, it was neat what pieces they picked from the movie to build the trailer. They picked pretty much all of those sci-fi bits.
Phantasm. Is it a fantasy?
And left out
The fantasy
the
stuff.
storyline around it. So, and I remember that from the trailer.
It's cool when they can do a good trailer that doesn't spoil anything.
Right.
It's almost impossible these days.
For the past couple of years, I've been watching people on YouTube do review shows, where they give their thoughts as well as do a lot of comedy. People like the Nostalgia Critic, the Cinema Snob, the Blockbuster Buster, and so many fucking others. And like all these other movie reviewers, I've given myself a review nickname. It's something that I think will grab people's attention. Will let you know immediately that I'm a movie guy. And it's a name I'm sure that no one else has thought of using. The Unusual Suspect. I don't want to sound too full of myself, but it just feels so great when you come up with something so original.
Babe, I think that there's something you should see.
There's also, the only other character of note is the lady in lavender, played by Kathy Lester. She's basically a mysterious femme fatale.
Black Widow.
Who lures horny men in and then kills them, and they become the dwarves. And it's then revealed that she's actually the tall man, taking on a female appearance.
Mm-hmm.
Which for some teenage boys in the audience is probably like, ooh.
And then she just stands there with, I guess he had the gun, but she lets him escape towards the end of the movie.
Well, actually, it was just a knife he had.
Oh, the knife, right.
I thought that moment was well acted with the tension and the sly, evil, almost seductive look on her face as he circles around her. And apparently Michael Baldwin was, like, his character was a bit of a brat during filming.
Shocker.
According to Kathy Lester, for the part where I think I saw this on the DVD, when he's circling around her, she was being filmed by the cameraman.
Mm-hmm.
But Mike was standing behind the cameraman, just making faces at her.
Huh?
Like, just the most obnoxious faces to try and make her crack.
So the character was really far, it was a really stretch for him to act.
The scene where the lady in lavender kills Reggie,
Mm-hmm.
which I noticed made you jump a little.
A little bit.
That scene has a lot of wind going on, like very powerful wind, and it was done with like a wind machine.
Mm-hmm.
And while filming the part where Reggie runs out to her, Michael started throwing stones in front of the wind machine, causing both of them to get pelted.
Ugh.
And I saw
Stay put.
I saw an interview that was Kathy and Michael, Mike's now.
He's now like 40, isn't he?
He's in his 50s.
50s, okay.
And after hearing her tell the story, he goes,
Oh, I'm just hearing these things hitting me, and I'm
I think this
freezing.
story is bullshit. I
Everybody remembers
don't remember it at
You're
all
so
like
full
that.
of crap.
I don't remember it at all.
but he did it in a way that where they let you know he's really saying, yeah, I did it, but what can you say?
Yeah, I was a teenager.
After that, apparently with Reggie dying, Jody and Mike make one last plan to take down the tall man.
There's an old mine shaft way down by the end of Singer's Creek.
100 feet, was it?
Yeah.
I think they said, yeah.
And then the tall man shows up again. Apparating out of nowhere and chasing down Mike while going, boy.
He conveniently falls in the hole and conveniently has a rock slide cover the hole up.
And then, I mean, I love this movie, and the ending I thought was cool on many levels, but this is where the film kind of, it could lose a few people.
Mm-hmm.
It apparently ends on the note that the whole movie was a dream, it seems, and we see that Reggie is still alive. He's with Mike, and Reggie talked about how Jody is apparently dead.
That Michael's dreaming about this because of the psychological trauma maybe that it caused.
I know you're scared. I'll take care of you.
I want to know how Reggie is there raising Mike at this point.
Hopefully he'll be a better guardian.
Yeah, that's not up for grabs, but... Did they look around at like the funeral? Like, who's going to take the kid home? Nobody's left.
Let's let the bald ice cream vendor with a ponytail do it.
I see nothing wrong with this. Let the guy with the white van take him home.
Their last scene together where Mike's talking about what he believes happened, Reggie suggests, and once again, this might raise a few eyebrows today, suggests,
What we need is a change of scenery.
you and me hit the road for a couple of weeks?
Where'll we go?
Well, I don't know. I guess we can figure that one out when we get there.
We'll take off.
And
Forget school.
although they did say it was the summer when this took place, but even then,
Has to make a living the rest of the year, you know, because you can only sell ice cream for so many months out of the year, unless he travels south or something.
maybe he has a store in town.
Maybe.
And then Mike goes up to his room with an awesome electric soundtrack playing. And while this ending is still confusing, I love the final moment where he closes his door.
Grabs him out in the mirror, yeah.
That was a perfect cliffhanger
Yeah, it's
to go
pretty
out
effective,
on.
yeah.
There was not a sequel to the first Phantasm movie until 9 years later. So, yeah, the fans really had to wait in suspense on this one. I really enjoy this film a lot. I loved it since I was a teenager. Whatever flaws I have with it are not that major. I mean, these movies are in the end about having a fun watching experience. And it has all the cool stuff that it promises. Creepy visuals, pretty impressive special effects, and some decent gun-wielding action.
Yeah, I like the pacing of the movie probably the best. I thought it was very well paced to preserve that tension, stretch out that tension. And then the character development was good, because you really got to care for the characters, fear the tall man.
Yeah.
So I thought those were the high points of the movie.
Believe it or not, the original cut of the film was over 3 hours.
It may have been a little bit too long. But that period, that 70s period, I mean, there were so many, you know, very long 2.5, 3 hour movies. So it's pretty typical of the period.
And because so much footage was cut, it gave Don Coscarelli the opportunity to use the majority of it as flashbacks or to help establish, like, further the story in the sequels.
Oh, convenient.
Phantasm 4.
Main thing I gotta say about the ending is, if you think it ended on a confusing, didn't give you enough answers note, just wait until you get to the sequels.
No?
They're gonna explain a few things, but especially around movies 3 to 5, you're really gonna wonder, what was this all about?
Most of you don't know what's going on around here. Oh, damn well.
I do think some of the plot holes were one of the weaknesses of the film. Some of maybe the 70s special effects probably. You could tell in some places that it was kind of a low budget film.
Yeah.
Not in all places, but in some places. I thought those were kind of the two detractions. So if you have more plot holes in the second and third one, hopefully the special effects are even better to preserve it.
The special effects, while admittedly can be a bit cheesy at times, I still feel are reasonably impressive considering the budget was only about $300,000.
Yeah, for that, yeah.
And
I thought there were good moments of the special effects, yeah.
The effects did not get bad to the point that they hurt the films until around the fourth movie, when they started using CGI for some stuff.
The sci-fi horror.
They used CGI on less than $1 million budgets for those movies.
Yeah, hopefully they did something about the mustard blood, that's all.
Oh, the blood is still yellow in the sequels. It's meant to show that these are like alien beings.
Yeah.
And it also gives them the excuse to use as much as possible without having to worry about censorship. Because if it's not red...
If it's not red, doesn't count.
Don Coscarelli, I like him as a director pretty well. Like, he knows how to make fun movies and give you a good time. To get inspiration for Phantasm, he apparently spent several weeks at an isolated cabin to write. And he also claims the spear that flies through the air trying to kill you came to him in a dream when he was a teenager.
Yeah. That's a creepy ass dream.
During the course of filming, they only shot the film on weekends. Most of the crew was made up of friends and family, so he used whoever he could get, and he would rent the filming equipment on Fridays and return them on Monday.
Oh?
And apparently that way he could only have to pay for a single day's worth.
That's how you keep the 300,000.
The movie was produced by his father, credited as D.A. Coscarelli. And his mother helped out, even also Reggie Bannister's parents. So yeah, it was like a...
family affair, yeah.
Yeah, family and group project.
I wonder if Michael harassed them as well.
Probably.
The leprechaun. Oh.
In the second Phantasm movie, they recast the role of Mike. Universal Pictures decided to produce the second Phantasm, seeing how popular the first movie was. But they wanted to recast the characters of Mike and Reggie because those two were not trained actors and they hadn't acted in anything besides Coscarelli's movies. So they made a deal. They could keep one, but they'd have to replace the other. And Reggie Bannister, he's irreplaceable. So they got this guy named James LaGrosse after certain actors like a then unknown Brad Pitt auditioned. But Universal, they didn't fund the sequels. Coscarelli had more control over the projects. So Michael Baldwin continued at being Mike in the 3, 4th, and 5th movies.
Has he aged?
He's still a skinny guy. It's only in the 5th movie that he really starts to kind of look old. Reggie Bannister, still rocking the tail. Bill Thornberry, he's not in the second film, but he started coming back around the 3rd movie. And out of everybody, he probably aged the hardest. I don't want to spoil anything too much, but Jody is supposed to be dead after the first film. So his appearances are kind of meant to be...
flashback type.
As a ghost.
Oh, as a ghost.
And yet he continues to age.
Oh.
I guess that's the disadvantage.
Miles on that ghost.
I guess that's the disadvantage of making your sequels once or twice a decade. When Angus Scrimm was offered the role of the Tall Man by the film's special effects artist and co-producer Paul Pepperman, and he was told he would be playing an alien, Scrimm's response was, "What country do I hail from?"
Oh.
different type of alien.
Yeah, not that quite.
So overall, I like this movie a lot. I think the characters can be a little annoying at times, especially as the films go on, but they're for the most part, they're a lot of fun. The actors are mostly pretty likable, and Angus Scrimm, he made every movie in this franchise worth seeing, no matter how goofy it got.
I think it does go beyond the typical stereotype of a horror film. I think it's a little bit deeper, has a little bit more of a modern feel than some of the others of that period. So
that scene with the box, I just want to talk about this scene.
Just put your hand in the black box.
What's in it?
Your intelligence.
Hey, this thing really hurts. Don't fear, Michael.
That scene is taken pretty much right out of Frank Herbert's Dune. And when you see the David Lynch movie, it's amazing how close that scene is. Except Phantasm's a little sillier with it.
Put your right hand in the box.
What's in the box?
Hey.
Put your hand in the box.
What's in it?
About 8 hurts. Silence! Silence!
Hey, this thing really hurts. Don't fear, Michael.
I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer.
It was simple reflection. Fear is the killer.
It almost kind of feels like a ripoff, but it was okay, I guess.
Yeah, it was a little out of place. That was the point at the movie where I wasn't really sure what was going on. And the fortune teller never really plays a role whatsoever other than that.
Well, her granddaughter apparently ends up in the tall man's clutches.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, yeah, that doesn't go anywhere.
Only that theme of don't be afraid kind of sustained throughout.
Another scene that got deleted was a scene where Jody takes Mike to a friend's place, and Mike gets really, really drunk. And after passing out, Jody, as a joke, covers him in ice cream.
Oh, good idea.
I guess they cut that out because I'm guessing they probably thought, we're pushing this irresponsible Guardian thing as bad as it is.
What, does the kid shoot through another door? I mean, with a hammer?
Your Mythbusters.
Yeah. I think definitely Mythbusters should try that. I think Mythbusters could test this.
Yeah.
That's definitely Mythbusters test.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give this film?
I'd probably go a 7. Walking in, I was probably thinking maybe a 5. So I think watching it, it was definitely a good experience. I think probably a 7 overall, maybe even a 7.5.
I think I'd give it a similar rating, either a 7.5 or a 7.8. Can't recommend it enough. If you're a horror fan, you'll have a kick-ass time here.
Mm-hmm.
Great effects, great action, and an amazing score. Just the electricity
Yeah,
of
that
it all.
did help set that scene, yeah.
Play us out. Awesome theme song.
It was pretty consistent throughout the entire movie. It was like the motif throughout.
Gothic, but almost relaxing. At least that's what I think. This has been our review of Phantasm. Hope you liked it.
Very appropriate for the holiday season here.
And I will see you next week with another scary classic.
Ooh.
These things were here, right in the garage, and they were gonna get me.
Oh, give me a break, would ya?
They were jumping on the car and making these weird sounds.
Sure wasn't that retarded kid Timmy up the street?
Oh, it was the same thing that chased me last night. Well, what are we gonna do?
Get you a shrink.